Hello everyone, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. You're watching 284 Media. Thank you so much for your time. The Rotaract Club of Tortola, under the presidency and leadership of Odain Lennon, is hosting a community action event, of course, in hopes of preventing dengue fever. Now, this is not just your average community cleanup. It is specifically to mosquito breeding sites. This initiative is in collaboration with Green VI. Joining me as well is the lovely Miss Sarah Penny. We're going to talk all things cleaning up our community. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Join us every Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. and Sunday at 6 o'clock p.m. for exclusive live coverage of the 2024-2025 BVI National Football League. Only in CCT Live, channel 284. Don't miss a single day. Sign up today by calling 444-4444 or visit cctbvi.com/live. Your football season starts here.
Just give me my service.
Yeah. Just give me my service.
Just give me my service.
Make the switch to CCT and get connected today. Unlimited talk, text, and data. Visit any CCT store or call us at 444-4444. CCT, Life Unlimited.
Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, I am joined by the lovely Sarah Penny and President Odain Lennon of the Rotary Club of Tortola. And Sarah, of course, you're representing as Director, Green VI. We got some work to do.
Yes, we do, Ron.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the platform, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, I'm really so proud and happy to be here on behalf of Green VI, and even more proud and happy to be here next to representation from Rotaract. Because as an organization, Green VI, our work toward a greener, cleaner, healthier BVI is entirely based on collaboration.
Indeed.
And there are just really, truly brilliant minds in Rotaract. I mean, there always have been, but I think this is a particularly prime time because the club, and I love being able to say this finally, has had the vision to see that when we talk about disease prevention,
Yes.
dengue is a disease that is preventable, and it's worth investing time as a service organization into doing that.
Beautiful, and that is exactly why we're here today. President Lennon, tell us about the community action event that is in aim of preventing dengue fever, and why particularly your club decided to focus in on this very important aspect.
Yes, Ron, absolutely. So, as you know, December in Rotary is celebrated as Disease Prevention and Treatment Month. And so when we were discussing what we could possibly do for this month, outside of what we ordinarily do, there's a lot of focus on, other diseases that affect our community. We thought, we looked and we're like, we've collaborated with Green VI before. We know for a fact that dengue is an issue right now in the community. I mean, we all know of someone who has been affected by dengue. And so it was just natural, let's reach out to Green VI. Let's see if this is something that we can do, particularly given that we know they have their bug out program. It's in Virgin Gordo. Sarah will talk about it some more. I think in terms of Tortola, it's not as much. And so this is a good opportunity to roll that out here and see where we go, in terms of like the hot spots. So for example, we understand from, anecdotal data that Baugher Bay is a hotspot for dengue. There are other areas across the island that are also hotspots. And so the idea is that we start here and we move to those other areas, and just to see how best we can ensure that in providing service to the community, we're providing a very impactful service, things that in the long run we'll be able to say, actually, we help to stem, the spread of this disease, or whatever the case might be.
Wonderful, and I thank you so much for mentioning the hotspot, because I was going to ask what consideration was done in choosing this particular village. So in noting that it is a hotspot, thank you so much for that. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the actual the cleanup, because it is quite different. Sarah, we're going to get to you on the very targeted approach for this particular cleanup. But President Lennon, tell us about the details, the date, and registration as well.
Yes, of course. So the date for the cleanup is Saturday. That's this Saturday, 7th of December. It starts at 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
at the Virgin Islands School of Technical Studies. So we meet there. That's our meeting point in terms of registration. You'll see on our flyer, there's a number that you reach out to just contact in case you want to register. You can register on the day of, say for example, you get up and you decide, actually, this is something that I want to participate in. You're absolutely welcome to join. You come, you speak to one of the representatives. There will be several people from, Green VI, Rotaract, Ministry of Environmental Health, several persons. So just come on out and join us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Sarah, like I mentioned, this is a very targeted approach. Tell us about the difference in the focus of mosquito breeding sites, because it's not just a cleanup. It's not just a regular average cleanup. Tell us about how that's going to work.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take this to your listening audience right now, Ron, because we encourage you to come out because it's an opportunity for anything that motivates you. For example, we hope people will come and participate if you're motivated by health. Perhaps you want to learn something about how you can protect your health and the health of your family, but also the health of your community. Because the more you know about how to look for things that hold water and breed mosquitoes, not only on your own property, but on your neighbors, because mosquitoes move around.
Of course.
The more you can do to protect your health proactively. But then perhaps health isn't always at the forefront of your mind, but maybe economics is. The reality is that dengue affects our economy. When anyone gets sick, they're not down for a few days. They're down for weeks. If you're an employer, this is a big issue. It's an issue because it means that your staff and your resilience is weakened. When you're somebody that relies on your income, which is all of us, right? And you're out of work for 2 weeks, it has a really big impact on your life. I mean, we know the cost of living is a serious thing now. We don't want to lose days of work. The other piece that's really important is the education. So I must acknowledge at the forefront how much work the Environmental Health Division does in protecting the Virgin Islands from mosquito-borne illness. And what we try to do, Green VI as an organization, is be a collaborator and support. So this is an opportunity for education. So there'll be vector control officers from environmental health. There'll also be vector control officers from our team that's more based on Virgin Gorda that are coming across, including the entomologist that we have on our team, Dr. Amy Lind. So if you just happen to be really interested in science, it's a great time to come out and ask questions.
Beautiful.
Because mosquitoes can strangely be very interesting.
Understood. And I'm happy that you mentioned how it impacts us, because this year particularly, we would have known that there was a significant increase in the rise in dengue cases. And I know many persons themselves who were adversely affected by that. I want to talk a little bit about numbers and statistics. Do you have an idea of the level of impact dengue has been having on us?
Yeah. So right now what happens typically is that doctors diagnose by symptom. But because Caribbean people are familiar enough with what the symptoms of dengue is, we often don't even go to the doctor. We stay home and drink papaya bush, and wait it out. And while that's reasonable, it is something that we want to encourage the public to make the effort to go to a doctor, so that, because they do keep your information confidential, but they do at least report it in a way that helps us to have better data. So with the anecdotal piece is where we really find ourselves, because people call in desperation. There's breeding sites around their community that they can't deal with. It might be a derelict vehicle. It might be a neighbor who doesn't look after their property. Government, it's not their responsibility to go onto somebody's property and deal with it. It's not even really within legal parameters. And so they're calling desperately. They're calling Green VI's hotline because of our bug out program. They're calling environmental health to say my family's sick. People call us to the point where we know we've had a family of 5 all hospitalized from this illness. We've had, a young woman even more recently who's a very active community member, teenager, so sick she's had to have blood transfusions in the hospital for over a week. More importantly, this disease, this illness, affects our most vulnerable populations the most, which is our seniors and our children. And it's a big part of why together, Rotaract and Green VI, we decided Baugher's Bay was the strongest space to start in because it's such a dense residential population, and there's also 2 schools in that same area.
Well, great choice. And of course, well done in research to be able to effectively choose the area. I want to talk about the hotline as well as the bug out prevention program. How does that work?
So Bug Out is a program that we run because Green VI's main themes are waste, water, energy, with education and innovation as solutions. And it all relates to human behavior. So the number 1 breeding site for mosquitoes is litter. People are familiar with what I call the most stupid ways of getting drinking water, which is those little bottles. But if you take just the cap of one of those bottles, 200 mosquitoes can breed in water in the cap alone. So you can imagine with the litter challenges that we have, if that's turned over and gathers water, we have a huge problem, right? And we're not affected by dengue alone. Chikungunya and Zika are also issues. Zika has resurfaced, new strains of that. It's going to start to affect us. Chikungunya hasn't disappeared. You know, it's not as prevalent as dengue. But the Bug Out program seeks to, and I must just say thank you so much, you found the language we use, which is to clean up, cover up, and communicate. And that's the power individuals have, right? Clean up both your yard and your community. Cover up, which means cover your rain barrels, cover your septic cistern, and also yourself when you're at risk. You know, wear long sleeved and long pants if you're in a mosquito prone area. And the communicate piece is the most important. If you come out on Saturday at 6:30 at the Virgin Islands Technical School to meet with us, what you're also going to take away is information to share with your family and your network, which is, I mean, as a Virgin Islander, for me, that's why we are a strong community. Because it actually only takes, if 100 people know a piece of information, you could actually cover the whole country.
Of course.
So help us have 100 of us at that cleanup on Saturday so that when you leave there, we actually know we're going to be able to tell all 30,000 people in the country about how to clean up, cover up, communicate, and protect yourself.
Absolutely amazing. And I want to take this opportunity, like you mentioned, to congratulate President Lennon on, and your club, of course, on creatively finding this way of helping our community. Kudos to you guys. And you're doing an amazing job, by the way, you and your team. I have to give you both an opportunity before we go. For persons who are not aware of the work of the Rotaract Club of Tortola, please inform them, as well as to your meeting times and how they could participate. And Sarah as well, Green VI. This is a very large task, and volunteer support, financing is absolutely needed for persons who are watching and want to support not only the upcoming cleanup, but if they want to support and help in some way to push the mantra of Green VI, how can they do that? President?
So I'll start. So I'm sure we've all heard of Rotary. We have several clubs here in the BVI. Rotaract is the youth arm of Rotary. And so what we have are members who are 18 to around 35. And we cover several areas. In terms of the areas of focus of Rotary, I won't even get into those, but there are 7. And so what we do is that we find activities, engaging in those areas. We do community initiatives that will ensure that the message is getting out about, how can we do better in these areas? How can we improve our community? In terms of our meeting times, it's on 1st, 3rd, and 5th Fridays at 5:30 p.m. at the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports. In fact, this Friday we're having a writer's social because we're writing a children's book aimed at peace building and conflict resolution, which is one of the areas of focus of Rotary. So please do come on out, if you're interested, if this is something that, actually, let me see what they're about. Come on out, have a chat with us, and just see what we're about.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that we connect on so many levels because Green VI, what we see our role to be is like that of an immune system. And so Green VI, our work is how do we look at human behavior and the impact it has on the environment. But then for us as an organization, we choose to find funding and channel our energy into the spaces where maybe there's gaps right now in our community. So while we spend a lot of work in the We Recycle program, for example, that's not a program that we want to run forever. We've worked to collaborate with Department of Waste Management to catalyze it. And then once we're not needed anymore, we can transition our resource and time to something else. Right now, there's also a need to address mosquito-borne illness, and so we allocate resource and time to doing that. But we hope that we help catalyze enough knowledge in the population that this problem that is preventable, this disease that is preventable, becomes preventable. We have a great website, greenvi.org, and a great hotline, 346-4040. You'll get Miss Joanne on the other end of that, whom you know, Ron.
Yes.
And if you want to know anything, the website is a massive resource, in particular for teachers who are looking for lesson plans. All of our lesson plans are aligned with the national curriculum.
Okay.
So you can choose an environmental lesson plan in order to teach the same benchmark in your class that you are trying to achieve any other way.
Amazing.
So please, I think sometimes people forget how do we want to say this? We're not an abundance of resource, but sometimes even just your time fuels us, keeps us going.
Absolutely
so
amazing.
Show up on Saturday.
And speaking of education, I want to employ as well, we have a number of students across the territory who are in need of community service hours. This would be a perfect opportunity for you to partake and get those hours, the required hours up for graduation. Director Sarah.
Oh wait, though, Ron, because
Sure.
you have to say, this is just though, as much as there's community service hours, adults out there,
Beautiful.
we created a lot of this problem. We can't leave it to the youth to fix it all. We have to do our part.
That's absolutely
And
true.
when you show up, you lead by example. So do your part to fight the bite.
Well said. Could not have said that any better.
Yes.
Director Sarah and President O'Dane, thank you guys so much, and
Thank you,
much
Ron.
success in your continued efforts.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank
You're
you
most
so
welcome.
much.
Viewers, that's all the time we have. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Goodbye.